Welcome back to round number 2 of the 2025 European Quadcross Championship. Race 1 earlier on today saw Harry Walker take victory over number 159 of Randy Naveau and Patrick Torini, red plate holder in this weekend, in 3rd position. Good stuff there. Here we can see shots from 2 weeks ago for the opening round in Cramelin, and it was a 1-1 finish for the 2023 champion, Patrick Torini. Harry Walker, number 1 and reigning champion, there we can see he had the red plate at the opening round. He ended up with a 2-2 finish with number 11, Mike van Grinsven, 3rd in the standings as we come into this weekend. Safe to say, Patrick Torini was absolutely delighted with his performance 2 weeks ago. Can he repeat that again this weekend? Highlights from race number 1 just a few hours ago then. And we're looking now towards the gate. So Carl Robin Rillo, number 741, he was on the 2nd row. Harry Walker was in the middle of your picture, in the middle of the gates there. 7th gate pick. He knew what he had to do. Randy Naveau on the inside as we watched him race towards this first corner then. And it was Randy Naveau getting squeezed out ever so slightly. Patrick Torini ahead of Manfred Zienicke as they approach the 2nd turn, but carving his way through the field already. Harry Walker right onto the rear axle of Patrick Torini, and he would remain there throughout the vast majority of the race, but that would soon change in the closing stages. Mark McClernand right there in contention as well, number 919, the Ulsterman, who was so competitive in last year's championship, and of course that didn't get off to the best of starts this year, but he's looking to turn around his fortunes. But it was Harry Walker who took the victory in front of his home crowd, and he'll be looking to repeat that success once again. Here's how they lined up then. Randy Naveau, Patrick Torini, Manfred Zienicke, David Davies, Mike van Grinsven, Mark McClernand, and Harry Walker, number 1 with the 7th gate pick. Christopher Taveruin, number 58, the Norwegian rider, a former vice champion in this series. He had 8th gate pick with Carlis Niger and Marcus Thompson. Yuri Brell, Jordi Nicholas Gieler, Aaron Hassler, Ayrton Knowles, Mike Verboven, Carl Robin Rillo, a former red plate holder in this series as well 2 years ago for the teenage Estonian. Mikalauskas, Murphy, Semend, and Oliver Sansom. Murray Graham, Louis Holt, Etienne Sanier, and Reggie Binskin, the 17-year-old making his debut in the European Championship. So we're watching them now on their sighting lap. Just getting a feel for it. The track may have changed ever so slightly, but in the interim, of course, we have had the first round of the FIM World Sidecar Cross Championship. Their first race was just an hour ago or so. So, Patrick Torini and Harry Walker separated by just 1 point as we come into the second race. And Mike van Grinsven still holds on to 3rd in the championship. Manfred Zienicke, Carl Robin Rillo, and Marcus Thompson inside the top 6. McClernand shoots up the standings into 7th position ahead of Yuri Kasper, Kasper Mishkovsky, and Randy Naveau, with that 2nd place earlier on today inside the top 10. Jordi Nicholas Gieler, Rasmus Sona, Rasmus not here this weekend unfortunately, Carlis Niger, Mike Verboven, Yuri Brell, Julian Veldman not here this weekend either. Christopher Taveruin, 17th, Lauren S. Mikalauskas, Mikkel Kodal, the Danish rider, not here, and David Davies in the 20th position in the championship standings. So there we can see on the left-hand side, that was the 159 of Randy Naveau. Patrick Torini just behind him there. Manfred Zienicke and David Davies. Mike van Grinsven just keeping hydrated as we have a look at Mark McClernand. And the number 6 machine just making their way around to their respective area. Number 6, Etienne Sanier, the Frenchman, the only Frenchman in this series this weekend. All of these guys will be ready and raring to go There we can see the 2-minute board being shown to all of the riders and team personnel. Harry Walker just on the right-hand side of your picture there with the blue Yamaha and the Union Jack proudly displayed on that Alpine Stars crash helmet. There we can see they will be making their way onto the gate very shortly in around about a minute and a half time. But let's just reflect on what happened earlier. Patrick Torini, he took the whole shot and led for the first quarter of an hour, or nearly quarter of an hour there for Patrick Torini. That man that we are looking at now, blue Yamaha, red and black jersey and pants for Patrick Torini. Manfred Zienicke just behind him. But Torini, 1 point is the advantage over Harry Walker as we come into this 4th race of the season. There's Manfred Zienicke, David Davies, the Welshman. There we can see the Welsh Dragon again proudly displayed on his jersey and on the peak of his crash helmet. Mike van Grinsven. We rarely see Mike van Grinsven without a smile on his face. Mark McLernon, well, at least that's Mark McLernon's bike. There is Mark. He's at the spot with the black and fluorescent yellow flashes on his helmet. Red and blue gear. Harry Walker. There is Christopher Taveraran. Not had a chance to speak to Christopher this weekend, unfortunately. But, of course, he is a former vice champion against the likes of Kevin Starr, who I believe is racing over in the AMA Pro ATV Championship this weekend. So all the best luck to Kevin Starr over the other side of the Atlantic Ocean in the United States. Of course, Kevin, a former 5-time European champion, the most successful European Quadcross Championship competitor we have seen. Carl Robin Rillo, it'll be the next person to head to the gate. He's not left the holding area yet, but Carl Robin Rillo, the 18-year-old Estonian, will be heading to the gate very shortly. There we can see so many spectators making the trip down to Wiltshire here, whether it's up, down, across to Wiltshire. They've all come in their hundreds and in their thousands to witness Europe's best and the world best in the form of the Quadcross Championship and the Sidecar Cross Championships. There is the number 159 of Randy Naveau. First gate pick, he opts to go for the far right-hand side of the gate. Patrick Torini and Manfred Zienicke, top 3 gate picks, and they're all opting to go for the inside. There is Mike van Grinsven. He had 5th gate pick, and interestingly enough, David Davies has decided to not line up alongside Manfred Zienicke. I'm sure he won't take it personally. Harry Walker with the fluorescent yellow Alpine Stars Tech 10 boots. There is number 919, Mark McLernon. Christopher Taveraran will be up next. He is the first rider on the other side of the gates. There's the 155 and the 44. It's Marcus Thompson and Yuri Braille. 526, Geordie Nicholas Gieler. As we wait now for the green flag to be thrown up into the air. The procedure, green flag will go up into the air. Dave Edwards will move over, and then the 15-second board will be put up into the air. 10 seconds later, naturally, the 5-second boards will be up, and then it will be clutches in, engage that first gear. All eyes down to the gate, and then that frantic charge in towards that first turn. There we get a real good opportunity to see just how wide the gate is and how it funnels into that first turn. Randy Naveau got squeezed on the inside in the race earlier on today, so we'll keep an eye on the far right-hand side of the gate. He's on the front row. Blue Yamaha and the turquoise and white jersey and pants there for Randy Naveau, just in the bottom left of your screen. Carl Robin Rillo will be looking to follow him through as the 15-second board gets up into the air then. All of these guys, final preparations, final stretches, and they really are in the zone now. 15-second board, Harry Walker, I'm sure his nerves will be through the roof right now, but it's all eyes down to the gates. Watch them, down they go, And Randy Naveau from the inside there carves his way to the left-hand side of the field. Could well get the whole shot there. Randy Naveau moves out a little bit wide on the exit there. Takes a look to his right-hand side, and it's Manfred Zienicke who moves up through the inside. Patrick Torini trying to follow through as well. And it is Patrick Torini in second place. Randy Naveau initially with the race lead, down into third at this stage, ahead of Mark McClernand. I didn't see Harry Walker go through the picture there. We'll try and pick up his position in just a moment's time, but Randy Naveau momentarily led the way, but is now in third position, because it is Manfred Zienicke, the German rider, number 89. He leads the way ahead of the championship leader, Patrick Torini, bike number 15. Watch them over that double, and then into this very single file, quick single there as they go down once again over the tabletop. Really starting to build up now. So Mark McClernand is there in fourth position. That still looking around for the number one play of Harry Walker over the top then towards the highest point of this circuit. And there we can see in the background the Wiltshire landscape laid out before us. But it is Manfred Zienicke, number 89, who leads the way. Torini right there with him. Look at the closing speed from the Italian on the German. And he's looking to make a challenge already, is he? He's looking for the inside. No time, no room this time around. McClernand up next. And we're looking... In fact, he's going for the inside. There is he. Zienicke doing everything he can. Holds on to the lead then. Again, channeling their way through the left into the right-hander, down the hill. And everybody opting for the same line, interestingly enough. In the qualifying race yesterday, we saw Mark McClernand do everything he can, using all sorts of different lines to try and overcome Mike van Grinsven. Watching them then, and it is Zienicke who leads them round this opening lap. In front of the vast amount of spectators here watching from the banking. And it looks like it could well be a challenge there for the lead. They will certainly go 2 by 2. Around the top end of the circuit, nearest the paddock. Dropping down now around this left-hander. It's full throttle, click up a gear, and then just wide open down the dip, and then up that big step up once again. But Zienicke, Torini, and Naveau up next. Mark McClernand is there in fourth position, ahead of Harry Walker. So Harry Walker right there in fifth position. A little bit of work to do, more so than what he had in race one. But Patrick Torini, he knows more than anyone that he needs to hit the front as soon as possible, because you can guarantee that Randy Naveau and Harry Walker will have the bit between their teeth, and they'll be doing everything they can to try and close the gap. So Torini has an opportunity here to extend his championship lead from one solitary point to much more. But Zienicke could well be the fly in the ointment here as they go along the bottom end of the circuit. But it is Zienicke holding on to that lead. Now what we'll be telling is that if Zienicke is not quite as quick as Torini and Naveau in terms of sheer speed, then it may hold them up, and it's not the easiest circuit to overtake on here as Torini looks for the inside, looks to the inside, doesn't make the move, they go out of sight momentarily, and the 89 and the 15 doing battle in the very early stages of this race. 25 minutes and 2 laps will be the duration of this race as ever, with 21.5 minutes to go, plus the 2 laps at the very end. But it's a breakaway 3 at the moment, with Mark McClernand and Harry Walker right there with them. Zienicke making his machine as wide as possible to stop Torini and Naveau, finding a way through. McClernand just about keeping his fingernails dug into the rear axle of the 159 of Randy Naveau. But there we can see from the drone footage, which, as Barry mentioned earlier on in the FIM World Sidecar Cross race, that this will be the first time that we've had live footage from the drone. And it is so good to see. We can really get a good idea as to how steep these descents and inclines are that these guys have to contend with over the small tabletop jump, and then get the power down, use the momentum. Big tabletop once again in front of the watching crowd for the step up towards, again, this paddock corner. There we can see this circuit is very hard packed, and there's a few rocks being flung around. And when I say rocks, I do not mean little stones. These are proper handful rocks. Zienicke still with the advantage over Torini and Randy Naveau. Mark McClernand closer this time than what he was last time around. And the lap time's 2 minute 20.640. But the fastest is that of Randy Naveau, number 159, 2-minute 20.603. Close stuff in the top 5 in this particular race. Christopher Tveruin in 7th place is also in the 2-minute 20.6s. Carl Robin Rillo is into 8th position ahead of Murray Graham and David Davies. Further down the order, Oliver Sansom, Reggie Binskin doing themselves proud in front of the local crowd. Zienicke and Torini. Neveu's just lost a little bit of time on the first half of this lap, it would seem. But here comes Torini. He's got the drive once again, and he loves that move there, doesn't he? Trying to get up the inside as they head towards this long left-hander. 180-degree left-hander. Behind the bush they go, bursting back into our view, and it is still Zienicke with the advantage. Zienicke and McLernon having a good battle earlier on in race number 1. That went the way of Mark McLernon for 4th position. Zienicke in 5th place, but at this stage, he has got that all-important race lead. Randy Neveu seemingly a little bit impatient at this stage, trying to find his way through on Patrick Torini, and this will be a prime opportunity for Mark McLernon to try and make up some ground with Harry Walker in tow. Walker went to the inside, don't believe he made the move. And in fact he did. Harry Walker made the move on Mark McLernon. He's in 4th position now. Harry Walker, number 1, the reigning champion, up ahead of 919 Mark McLernon. And now he will have the red mist well and truly on his goggles. So over the tabletop once more. Patrick Torini with the inside. Is that a change for the race lead? I believe it could well be. Patrick Torini and Manfred Zienicke. There they are. It is Torini, Zienicke and Neveu. Nothing to separate them. It's a 12-wheeler at the front as Harry Walker is trying to join the party. But Torini then, that is a decisive move. You can see that Walker has made the move on McLernon. All it takes is a quick glance after one of these 180-degree right-handers, and then he will see that his main championship rival, Harry Walker, was in front of McLernon, and that must have been the time that Patrick thought, right, this is it. We need to go now. Randy Neveu through on Manfred Zienicke as well. So Zienicke loses a few positions on that previous lap. And the lap time's really starting to get a little bit quicker now. A 2-minute 18.1 for Harry Walker. A great shot from above. And we can see once that top level of dirt has been removed, this circuit is very, very hard packed. Walker and Zienicke. This is the battle for 3rd place. Torini and Neveu are now through on the 89 of Manfred Zienicke. Watching them again through this 180-degree left-hander over the single. And it is Torini leading Neveu. Walker, can he do what he did to Torini earlier on today? Find a way through and just slam the door shut in front of Manfred Zienicke, so there is absolutely no way through. There we can see the closing speed once again from Walker onto the rear axle of the number 89 Yamaha. The black and yellow number 89 of Manfred Zienicke holding on to that 3rd place position as we approach 16 minutes and 2 laps to go. But Harry Walker, oh, it's so close there. That's where he made the move on Mark McLernon 1 lap ago. Manfred is holding firm in 3rd place. Mark McLernon just dropping back by a second or 2 on this lap. And is falling into the clutches of number 11, Mike van Grinsven, who previous time around lapped 9/10 of a second quicker. Walker looking for an inside pass on Manfred Zienicke in front of the home crowd. Up the inside, does he make it stick? I don't believe so. That looked to me like a flash of black before the blue. And it is Manfred Zienicke holding on to 3rd place. Mark McLernon is almost right back with them. Mike van Grinsven and Christopher Tveruin. Mike van Grinsven 3rd in the championship coming into this weekend. Former vice champion Christopher Tveruin up next in 7th place. Carl Robin Rillo is there in 8th. The field this weekend steeped in talent. When we were talking about number 741, Carl Robin Rillo, a former championship leader in this very series 2 years ago. He is there in 8th place. But Manfred Zienicke doing an absolutely sublime job of holding off Harry Walker for 3rd position. Through goes McLernon. There is Van Grinsven. There is Christopher Tveruin. quarter of an hour and 2 laps. Can't believe it's been 10 minutes already. But everybody watching on the FIM-moto.tv live stream, how about these pictures? Aren't they just fantastic? We've got camera positions all the way around this 2-kilometer circuit, as well as the aerial footage from the drone as well. Great stuff, great effort from everybody, the organisers, WSC as well, and of course, what a privilege it is to bring you that on the FIM-moto.tv live stream as Harry Walker moves to the inside of Manfred Zienicke, and clean as you like, he takes 3rd position. But there's still 4 seconds between him and Randy Neveu. So plenty of work to do then for Harry Walker, but if anyone's going to do it, Harry will, especially at his home round. Union Jack on top of that Alpine Stars helmet, he's looking to do himself and the home country proud. There we can see just how steep it is when they drop down there. Surprisingly, it looks shallower on the screen than what it does in person. But it is still Torini holding the advantage over Randy Neveu, who of course is a former multiple French champion. Patrick Torini, a multiple-time Italian champion and former European champion as well. Great to see Randy Neveu turning his sand talent over to the hard-pack stuff here in Fox Hills. And what an asset to the championship he has been this weekend. Torini and Neveu over the top. Such speed and grace as they hit that big step up as well into this final right-hand corner, 180 degrees. We mentioned it yesterday, the technical nature of the circuit cannot be understated. These guys do not get a rest anywhere around this circuit, as Harry Walker is now 5.9 seconds behind Randy Neveu, and Torini and Neveu in the 2-minute 16s. We saw 2-minute 15 the second lap times earlier on today, so it could well be that it's a little bit of time still out there to be found. Although we cannot forget that, of course, we have had a solo support race and the FIM World Quadcross Championship race as well. Let's watch them. There is McLernon just going out of your picture now. There's the battle for the race lead of Torini and Neveu. Less than half a second, as Harry Walker has 5.9 seconds to gain in the following 12.5 minutes plus 2 laps. But the big number 1 with them fluorescent yellow Alpine Stars Tech 10 boots, as we mentioned, he's put some distance now between Manfred Zienicke there. 1.3 seconds is the advantage for Walker in 3rd place. McLernon, Van Grinsven, Taveruin, Rillo, Graham and Davies inside the top 10 as well. So again, 4 local riders inside the top 10 positions. Fantastic stuff here for the home crowd. Torini, there goes Neveu. Look at the speed he carries as he goes into this left-hander. No room. Tries to squeeze his Yamaha up the inside of the 15 of Patrick Torini. No room this time around, carrying the speed. Does he take the high line? No, not this time around. Patrick Torini still holding station in the race lead. And he's certainly not been able to rest on his laurels at all this weekend, has Torini. He was defending that race lead early on from Harry Walker, and it was certainly, I would say politely, but I think that may be a little bit too generous, shown to the outside of the circuit by Harry Walker. But that is quadcross racing at its finest. There we can see 1st and 2nd to the left-hand side of your picture. 3rd place, Harry Walker, nowhere to be seen at this stage. Let's have a quick word further down the order then, outside the top 10. Carlis Niger, the Latvian rider, half a second ahead of Marcus Thompson. That is for 10th and 11th place. 12th place, Marcus Thompson there, sorry. 13th is Aaron Haslett, Mike Verboven, Yuri Brell in 15th, Laurinus Mikalauskas, Etienne Sanier, Kyle Murphy, and Louis Holt, number 30, rounding out the top 20 point scoring positions. So Torini, Neveu, 0.9 of a second is the gap. Walker, Zienicke, and then Mike Van Grinsven. Mark McLernon, Christopher Taverin is your top 7. Kyle Murphy and Louis Holt, as we said, rounding out the points at the moment. But Torini holding station in the race lead ahead of Randy Neveu. Now, is Randy just holding back a little bit? We saw he was the quickest man on the circuit last time around. Harry Walker, hard on the brakes there. The rear end skipping and bouncing all the way into that right-hander. If we look now further down the order there, that seems to me like it could well be Mark McLernon and Christopher Taveruin, and indeed it is. Van Grinsven is through on McLernon. This is the battle for 6th place. between Mark McClellan and Christopher Taveruan. Carl Robin Rillo a further 3 seconds behind. But McClellan doing a great job of holding off Christopher Taveruan, but Christopher Taveruan almost rubbing wheels, front wheels and rear wheels together, looks to the inside, carries the speed and blocks the exit there of Mark McClellan. He cuts it down, tries to get the drive. They're side by side as they go up that big step up into the left-hander once again. Mark McClellan shown to the outside of the circuit, and Christopher Taveruan just about holds on to 6th place. They can see right down into the valley on the left-hand side of our picture. Really are quite high up here from this camera position. So Patrick Torini and Randy Naveau, that is your leading two. There is Randy Naveau, and is that Torini down in 2nd place? Randy Naveau, I believe Randy Naveau has found his way through on Torini. He has, over the step up, the 159 leads the 15. The Belgian ahead of the French, Italian, Randy Naveau ahead of Patrick Torini. Coming around to complete lap number 6, and it's a 1 second advantage now for Randy Naveau. Torini up next in 2nd position. Now, if it was to remain this way, this would give Randy Naveau the overall victory with a 2-1 finish, but of course we do have 8.5 minutes plus the 2 laps remaining. Patrick Torini would finish up on 3-2, and Walker would be a 1-3 finish. Nonetheless, these guys all working frantically. But Harry Walker, 6.2 seconds is the gap now. It seems as though that he can't quite live with the pace being thrown down by Naveau and Patrick Torini. Taveruan through on Mark McClellan. We saw that in our image. Carl Robin Rillo only 1.8 seconds behind the Ulsterman for 7th position. That could well change over the following 8 minutes. We mentioned Randy Naveau, a 5-time winner of the 12-hour sand race in France, and there's such a talent there, as we mentioned, a great addition to the Quadcross Championship Series. But Patrick Torini, the 2023 champion, doing everything he can to try and reclaim that number 1 plate. 2-time French sand champion, 6 times winner of the 12-hour Pont de Vaux, and a 4-time champion in French national quadcross racing. David Davies inside the top 10, plenty of distance between him and Marcus Thompson in 11th. Carlos Niger and Mike Verboven 12th and 13th at this stage. Waiting, we can see the flags flying in the breeze there that we have here in the southwest of the UK. Through goes Naveau. Torini up next. The lap times, 2 minutes 16.5 for Naveau on that previous lap. Torini a 2 minute 18.5, but Walker a 2 minute 16.9. There is Torini. 1 second was the gap last time around, but Naveau already through the picture. There he goes. And we can see the dust being kicked up now. Had a little bit of rain earlier on today, but thankfully for our sakes and these guys, that rain has stayed away. Harry Walker up next, 6.4 seconds is still the gap. But consistency is absolutely vital, especially in a 5-round championship. Of course, next round will be in the middle of June in Gdansk in Poland. And then that will be, to all intents and purposes, halfway through the season. So the first race in Gdansk will be the halfway point as Harry Walker looks a little bit loose on the landing there, but keeps it under control. It looks like we have a retirement there on the left-hand side, unfortunately. Reggie Binsky and Oliver Sansom not completing the first lap. Sem End not completing lap number 3. Kyle Murphy out after 4 laps completed, unfortunately, for the Irishman. 5.5 minutes plus 2 laps. We're looking at Manfred Zienicke and Mike van Grinsven. And last time around, it was Van Grinsven who was marginally quicker. Zienicke, Van Grinsven, 4th and 5th place for the number 89 and the number 11. Watching them drop down now. And again, both riders using that same line. but it's the next the next right-hander that will be very telling. So if Van Grinsven can carry the speed around, and we can see he's using the berm, he's all over that berm on the Honda. Does he opt for the outside? No, not this time around. He knows that he's not quite close enough to make use of the outside line to carry the speed up towards the top end of the circuit, and again, round this long left-hander, more than 180 degrees as they filter their way through such a narrow part of the circuit. I wouldn't mind betting that that could well be the narrowest point on this 2-kilometre Foxhill circuit. Through goes Walker, number 1 Yamaha. Next up, the number 89 Yamaha, and the 11 Honda of Manfred Zienicke and Mark van Grinsven, the German and the Dutchman. As we mentioned, third in the European Championship standings as we come into this weekend is Mark van Grinsven. He's currently in 5th place as we speak. But the race earlier on today, we saw that Mark van Grinsven was 7th position, so a 7.5 finish, I suspect, may not what he expected when we came into this weekend, but still, as Harry has said so many times, consistency is absolutely vital. In fact, Kilian Prunier said the same thing as well in his post-race interview an hour or two ago. So Nouveau with a 2.5 second advantage over Patrick Torini, who in turn is 7.3 seconds ahead of Harry Walker, 5.3 seconds ahead of Manfred Zienicke. So this is really the battle on the circuit for 4th place. 18 points is the amount you score for finishing in 4th. But as it stands, it would seem as though Randy Nouveau could well be coming away from this second round of the European Championship with overall victory. A 2-1 finish would give him 47 points. Harry Walker currently sitting on a 1-3 finish, which will give him 45. And Patrick Torini, a 3 and a 2, would be 42 points. McLernon and Carl Robin Rillo fighting over 7th position. Carl Robin Rillo goes to the outside and tries to cut down. Again, was on the right-hand side, moves to the left-hand side. Mark McLernon knows exactly where he is, almost as though he has a sixth sense and knows exactly where the rider behind him is. But Carl Robin Rillo, interestingly, using the same line around that right-hander, again building up over the step up into the right, round this long left-hander, comes back on itself, and again over to the left-hand side of the circuit, and then it's almost an apex on the right-hand side that these guys have to hit. Carl Robin Rillo seems to have the pace at the moment as we watch number 31 there, I believe it could well be, in fact the further down the order, but there is Mark McLernon. Christopher Tverin, number 58, is out there as well, as we mentioned. Him and Kevin Starr had some great battles, but Mark McLernon and Carl Robin Rillo potentially having an even greater one at this stage. Watching them now through the bottom of your picture. Could well be a tail ender just moving out of the way there. Looks like Marcus Thompson, number 155, has not completed lap number 7. Louis Holt, number 30, the local rider there, just going a lap down. Watching them over the tabletop. Such a variety around the circuit as well. The track builders really have done such a great job for this weekend's event. Tverin in 6th place. McLernon ahead of Rillo by nothing, essentially. Murray Graham still inside the top 10 ahead of Carlos Niger and Mike Verboven, as Carl Robin Rillo just cannot find a way through to put his Yamaha ahead of that of Mark McLernon. The race earlier on today, 9 Yamahas inside the top 10 positions, with the lone Honda of Mike van Grinsven in 7th place. Carl Robin Rillo looks to the outside, squares it down once again, tries to get the drive, has the inside. Can he just squeeze through on Mark McLernon? No. Again, not quite close enough as the clock strikes 0. So when Randy Naveau with a 2.2 second advantage crosses the timing line next time around, it will be the penultimate lap. Carl Robin Rillo doing everything he can earlier on. That was the 8th place finish. So if it was to remain this way, it would be an 8-8 finish for Carl Robin Rillo as we watch Randy Naveau, the multiple-time French national champion, ahead of Patrick Torini. Very similar pace. In fact, last time around, there was only 7 one-thousandths of a second. 0.007 seconds between the lap times of Randy Naveau and Patrick Torini. This has been an outstanding performance from Randy Naveau. We know how good he is in the sand, but to use that talent and use that in the hard-packed terrain here in Foxhills is absolutely world-class. Over the top once more. 1.5 laps to go then. Naveau, the Belgian, ahead of Patrick Torini, the Italian, and Harry Walker, the British rider from Berkshire. About 50 minutes away from where we are at the moment in Swindon, near Wiltshire, or in Wiltshire. Manfred Zienicke, Mike van Grinsven, Christopher Taveren up next. But there we can see each input, every little input from Randy Naveau, it's not wasted. It all means something. The feedback he will get from his Yamaha means he can go even quicker. 2 minute 15.655 is his fastest of the race so far. That was just 2 laps ago. But Naveau, he knows he has a 2.5 second advantage over the points leader at the moment, Patrick Torini. So everybody will be happy with where they are at the moment. Naveau looking good for the overall victory. Torini looking to extend his championship advantage. Of course, at 1 point as we come into this race. It was 6 points as we came away from Cramelin. A first place finish for Walker and a third place finish for Patrick Torini. Saw that 6 point lead drop down to 1 point, but as it stands at the moment, he would extend it by 2. The final lap then for Randy Naveau. 2 kilometres to go around this beautiful Foxhill circuit as we watch and we wait for him to come into our view. Mark McClellan and Carl Robin Rillo still doing battle for that 7th place position. Of course, 7th place there will give you 14 points. Naveau and Torini went quicker than Naveau on that previous lap. Torini, he's not got a second wind, has he? Could well be that Torini, it was 1.8 seconds, but for my money, I'd say let's have a look as he goes over the jump there. I'd say it's still hovering around 1.5 to 2 seconds or so, but there is a tail ender that may come into the mix here. Blue flags will be waving very shortly, we are sure, for that particular rider as Randy Naveau drops down then. And Torini, he can't do it, can he? Look how close he is. Patrick Torini, the gap was nearly 2 seconds, and Randy Naveau, he can't slow up yet, can't hit the cruise control at the moment as that rider moves out of the way there. The blue flags will have been shown, but Patrick Torini is on a charge. Half a lap to go for Patrick Torini to take a first place potentially away from Randy Naveau. Watching the round, this long left-hander, and Torini, this is as close as he has been for quite a few laps. But Naveau, Randy Naveau, it's going to be so close at the end of this race. Over the step up again towards the right-hand side. Then we go in front of this huge crowd that will be watching and waiting. And Torini, I thought a few laps ago that he was settling for second, but he couldn't have proved me any more wrong. Randy Naveau through the left-hander. Torini, is he going to line up a move on the inside into the right-hander? I think Naveau knows he's there. Through they go, and Randy Naveau will take the victory in race number 2 ahead of Patrick Torini by less than half a second. Great stuff there from Patrick Torini in the closing stages of that race. Harry Walker will be the next rider to cross the line in 3rd position. So a 1-3 finish here in Foxhill for round number 2 for Harry Walker. Manfred Seneca up next. Mike van Grinsven, 5th position for him. As we look out, there is Mike van Grinsven. Christopher Taveren next up, bike number 58 through your picture now. Mark McClernand and Carl Robin Rillo, who are having such a good battle for 7th position. But it looks like Carl Robin Rillo may have faltered in the closing stages of that race as he finishes 2.5 seconds behind the Ulsterman of 919, Mark McClernand. But the fastest lap of the race on lap number 12, can you believe it, for Patrick Torini. And there we can see the track had certainly dug up a little bit more than what it had earlier on. The total race time for race number 1 for Harry Walker, 29 minutes 43 seconds, whereas this time around for race winner Randy Naveau, 29 minutes and 54 seconds. David Davies, number 10, the Welshman, inside the top 10 positions in 9th, with Murray Graham, the Scotsman, number 98, rounding out your top 10 positions. So again, 4 British riders inside the top 10, exactly as it was earlier. But David Davies and Murray Graham, respectively, 9-9 finishes and 10-10 finishes. Carlos Niger, he went 11-11 ahead of Mike Verboven. A good showing there for the Dutchman ahead of young teenager Jiri Brel. Florinas Mikalauskas, the Lithuanian rider, with 7 points on his number 545 Yamaha. As the checkered flag there, we can see the black and the white suit and trousers for the checkered flag man. Number 19, Aaron Haslett. Good stuff there, 12 points throughout the course of both races, ahead of Etienne Sanier, the Frenchman. But it is Randy Naveau who takes victory in what could well be his debut weekend in the European Quadcross Championship. Half a second behind him to Patrick Torini, who really had a second wind there, did Patrick Torini. Through goes Manfred Seneca there, and high fives all around for the German. Mark McClernand's machine, at least, coming through. But there we can see all of these guys there working hard. In fact, there is Mark McClernand and Harry Walker. Not quite sure why Harry's not on his machine. But Harry Walker then, a well-deserved bottle of water. Keep yourself hydrated, especially after half an hour of frantic quadcross action. There we can see that was a perfect display of the camaraderie within the quadcross paddock as well, with Mark McClernand giving Harry Walker a lift back to the interview area, where we will be speaking with Harry Walker very shortly, I am sure. So that then will be the end of racing for the Quadcross Championship for round number 2 of the season. Of course, 3 more to go over the course of the season, but right now we can go down and have a word with 3rd place finisher Harry Walker.
Harry, you left yourself with a bit more work to do this time.
Yeah, no, that was kind of expected from P7 on the grid, but no. Overall, I'm happy with the weekend. I kind of lost the toe on them two when I was stuck behind McClernand and Manfred, so I kind of lost that gap, and yeah, and then I was by myself for the rest of the race, so I didn't really have much to push for. But no, credit to those two boys, they were quick in that one. But yeah, I know what I need to do, and no, overall I'm happy with the weekend. To win here at their home GP is pretty cool, but no, 2nd overall I think today, and yeah, on to the next one in Poland.
Even if Randy Naveau decides to do the rest of the championship, he's lost a complete round, so that really shouldn't be a problem, right?
No, definitely. I mean, he's lost a lot of points, so I'm not sure if he's going to do the next 2 rounds. But if he is in the next few rounds, and if he is, then it's going to be good competition between the top 3-5 of us. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to Poland, and yeah, overall good weekend, and thanks for all the support, the home support around here.
Well, you showed your class, so well done.
Thank you very much.
Great stuff there. If we could see Randy Naveau out in the following 3 rounds, of course, the next of which is in Gdansk in Poland in the middle of June. But Harry Walker there seemed very happy with that third place finish in that race. Torini and Naveau just too far up the road for him to clamber back those positions. But in the meantime, Patrick Torini, number 15, the former champion, let's see what his opinion was on that race.
Patrick, well done. So you pulled some points back again on Harry. That was not a bad race.
Yeah, it's a long week for me, but I'm happy. The race was super hard. The second moto, I increased my speed and try to stay behind Randy, but I finished second. I stay points leader, and I have again the red plate. I'm super happy about this.
Well, that's very good. I mean, you move on now to Poland. Is the next round?
Yeah, I like Poland, and I'm super focused, and I try to take 1-1 again, and we'll see. I cross my finger.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Good stuff from Patrick Torini there. As he quite rightly said, he holds on to the red plate as we move away from round number 2 here in the United Kingdom and over to round number 3 in Poland. But number 159, Randy Naveau, what a showing this weekend for him. Let's see what he has to say.
Randy, aujourd'hui vous êtes le champion. Comment ça va?
C'est super de venir et de gagner ici. J'étais vraiment content de venir ici à Foxhill pour la piste vraiment extraordinaire. Et de gagner, de faire 2 et 1, c'est super.
Et le terrain, vous aimez le terrain?
Oui, j'aime beaucoup le terrain. C'était pas évident à dépasser, mais voilà, c'était la course, c'était comme ça. Et voilà, tout s'est bien passé. La machine a super bien marché. Et de gagner aujourd'hui, je suis très content.
Félicitations.
Merci à vous.
Voilà.
Great stuff there from Randy Naveau. Have to admit, not 100% sure what he said, but he seemed pretty happy, and that is what it's all about. 47 points, and with that, the overall victory here at round number 2 of the 2025 campaign. Randy Naveau on his Yamaha. Harry Walker and Patrick Torini up next. So the 159, the number 1 and the number 15. Manfred Zienicke, Mark McClernand takes the top 5 finish in the overall classification. Mark van Grinsven, Christopher Taveren, Carl Robin Rillo, David Davies and Murray Graham. That is your top 10 then as we round things off here in Foxhill for the second round. And let's have a look at the overall championship standings. And it is Patrick Torini with a 3-point advantage over Harry Walker. Mike van Grinsven, Manfred Zienicke, Carl Robin Rillo in 5th position. And Randy Naveau, 1 round, and he's up into 6th place already. Mark McClernand in 7th place. Marcus Thompson, Christopher Tavero in 9th place, and Yuri Kasper rounding out the top 10. Well, that's all from us for the second round of the 2025 European Quadcross Championship from Foxhills in Swindon. Thank you very much for joining us throughout the course of this FIM-moto.tv live stream. My name's been Bradley Hicks, and we will see you in a few weeks' time in Gdansk. Thank you.
Ready to go, Harry Walker and Patrick Torrini here. Can you come behind the stage, please? So Harry Walker, Patrick Torrini and Ready to Go, please make your way to behind the stage. Thank you.
Making the way towards the podium area. As we mentioned, the prize giving ceremony will take place very shortly. We will see the third, second and first place finishes of round number 2 here in Foxhill, in Swindon in Wiltshire. But for everybody watching and listening at home on the FI and Fastmoto.tv, we hope that you've really enjoyed these pictures.
Statyczkę, budu statyczkę, ona by mali tam nemůžu.
Having a good time this weekend, that's what it's all about, isn't it? At the end of the day, go racing, watch good action, have fun, and just enjoy the sunshine, which thankfully we've had quite a lot of over the course of the weekend. The rain has stayed away. We only had a 5-minute sprinkling yesterday between qualifying races for the sidecar cross and the cross races. And earlier on today, before the action even took to the circuit, a very brief period of rain, but thankfully all of that went away early in the morning.
Marshals and absolutely everybody that have gone out their way to make the effort to put on the spectacle that we witnessed the weekend. Let's hope it comes back to the UK shores once again. We're now going into the quad presentation, and I'd like to welcome to stage, I think you'll all agree you saw some spectacular racing in this races. In third place, Patrick Turini. In second place, and it the kids are at the front, Harry. Don't forget the kids at the front. There you go. Very popular with the crowd. But without a shadow of a doubt.
Third position then. So the 2023 champion, Patrick Turini, is the man who took third position overall over the course of this weekend. Second position and
So coming to stage to present the trophies, names that you will definitely recognise if you have anything to do with sidecars. These are the last crew to win the British Sidecar Grand Prix. Chris Etheridge and Gary Withers.
As just mentioned, the last British crew to win
Bude hymna, no.
Presenting the first place trophy to Randy Naveau. Again, a name that is synonymous with sidecars. Make some noise. The event main sponsor, Chris Riley. Well, they battle this championship and then all the way through someone gets the accolade of taking home the Rad Plate.
Okay, na hymnu.
As we're going to hear it in the background there,
No,
the
to
red plate does
bude
have
na tom,
number 15
nad
machine
startem,
of
nad
Patrick
startovním
Turini, a
trošku.
3-point advantage.
So Patrick now will go on to Poland for the big one. We ask you now, boys, to stand for your photo session, please.
Safe to say that everybody is absolutely delighted with their
No, je nad startem.
and the wreaths there. It's been a good weekend of racing there. Randy Naveau, Harry Walker and Patrick Turini, your podium. And the waiting crowd
Počkej,
there
první je Belgičan.
certainly showing all of their support and a little bit more.
První je Volker, ne, dostal Red Plate. Kdo byl tady první? Tak kdo tady byl první teda? Belgičan, no, tak to...
Ready?
Are we ready for the sound at the back there, please? Roger, hit the button. Well, that's the soundtrack for announcement. The national anthem of Belgium, ladies and gentlemen. Make some noise! They don't have it. Unfortunately, from technical errors, we do not have that. Once again, what we would say, a disappointment, but we would like to once again congratulate.
Carl, you're gonna get wet, ready?
Come on then, boys. Who's going to be the first to pop the cork? The crowd get it. Harry gets it. But definitely Randy Naveau gets it. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. The fastest three quad runners here at the European Quad Championship, Foxhill 2025.
To the home crowd. And he can sleep well tonight knowing that he's only 3 points away from Patrick Turini in the championship standings.
To je trošku náš průser, no.
Well, I think yesterday's best
Kamilka neohlídala.
race there for Harry Walker. And again, that save cannot be understated. That was an incredible save there. The front went light, then the Yamaha went left, right, left, over the top of the jump and landed almost sideways. And Harry ended up at the end of that one, almost facing back into the pack. But a great recovery to get 7th gate pick for Harry Walker, the reigning champion. And that saw him take a 1-3 finish this weekend. Luke, Jason Van Daal and Lauren van der Voeten up next. So we will have the presentation on the podium there very shortly for the World Sidecar Cross Championship.
Nějaký technical issue.
Is still seemingly struggling with the like on 2/3 of that little finger on his right hand side. So
No, tak to asi nebylo, že ji nehraje, protože nemají živnou, ale že asi nefungoval v repre.
Experiencing at the moment there for Marvin van Leeuwen, but he's won 3 World Championships before. He knows what he needs to do.
Jo, sajdy.
As we mentioned in the post-race interview, consistency is absolutely vital to unlocking those world
No,
titles.
zahraj sajdy.
Just waiting now for all of these guys to head up onto the podium. There we go, music turns back up to 11. And why not indeed? So thousands of spectators, as we mentioned, over the course of this weekend. Not 100% sure what the actual weekend attendance will be, but I am absolutely certain it will be in several thousands. It's great to see all of the Sidecar's presentation here.
Thank you, Bradley. That was Bradley Hicks giving you a very comprehensive rundown of the quads and the atmosphere here post-race.
You're still flying?
On what has been an absolutely fantastic Grand Prix weekend. The crowd are euphoric. One or two people are disappointed, of course, not least all the Prunier brothers. And of course the little Barnes twins, who must really go back now and scratch their heads and regroup and think what need they do differently when we get to Brou in France. But you can see that the sun is shining and the people are hanging around here. I won't say loitering, they are loitering to get their fans, but of course these guys have just finished a very grueling race and they'll want to tidy themselves up, put a clean shirt on and come to the podium for the presentation, which is the customary way it's done. And all of the food stalls are in full flow here, and I suspect there'll be a bit of a party atmosphere going on into the early evening.
Běžte do diváků, ne? Na rádiu nějaký nebo něco.
Somebody playing an unofficial national anthem down there. I'm not even sure which country it came from. Unless the DJ is just testing his equipment.
There we go. Here we go.
Hello everybody! We lost the Netherlands national anthem somewhere, but we found it. It's back now, so we are back up and running. Ladies and gentlemen, what a day, what a weekend. The racing's been fabulous, the circuit's been fabulous, the organisation, everything has been great. So big thanks, Waterlooville Club, to the ACUs, to WSC, for the FIM and everyone else involved. Make some noise! What a weekend! Brilliant, couldn't have been better. We hope you've had a great time. But now then, the presentation. In third place in the sidecars, ladies and gentlemen, they fought hard all weekend. It is the number 1 plate, Marvin van Luken and Nicolas Muset. Now, as you know, I'm not allowed to be biased being a commentator.
Je on nikdo.
But it has to be said, if you ever want to see a dominant performance, it was this weekend. They won the qualifying race. They won race 1. They won race 2. So now, to present the trophies, a British crew who were sweating that they were going to lose their record for a few minutes, but it's still intact. The last crew to win a British GP, ladies and gentlemen, it is Chris Etheridge and Gary Willers. Presenting the trophy to third place, Marvin van Luken and Nicolas Muset. And now, to present the trophy, Chris Etheridge, Gary Withers present second place, Brett Wilkinson, Joe Miller! And finally, the man who without this event wouldn't happen, our main event sponsor from Berkshire Cycles, Chris Riley, will present the trophy to our winners, Koen Hermans, Ben van der Bogart. And now finally, they came into this weekend with the red plate. They're going away with the red plate. The FIM Chief Steward, Mr. Roberto Rusty Chetty presents the red plate to the number 3 crew, Koen Hermans, Ben van der Bogart.
Yesterday, he hopes he keeps it till the end of the season. Of course he does.
And now, that elusive national anthem for our winners.
Co uvidíš, to pustí, jo. 31%, co chvíli budu muset projít. Tak jo, tak 6 sekund.
Champagne time! But I think before you disappear, boys, we need to have a quick word before you go. First of all, let's start with Brett and Joe. Let's have a quick word. Brett, Joe, tell us, what was it like for you coming into that valley?